Let's get right into it. Number 4. The Vampire of Venice was a pandemic protocol. Picture this. Archaeologists dig up a 16th century grave in Venice and find a female skeleton with a massive brick shoved in its mouth. Your first thought is some bizarre one-off mob hit, right? Nope. This wasn't a crime. It was a public health procedure born from pure terror. During plague outbreaks, a common superstition was that the disease was spread by shroud eaters, vampires who would chew through their shrouds and rise to feast on the living. So gravediggers had a protocol. If they found a suspicious corpse, they'd jam a brick in its mouth to stop the feeding. This wasn't Dracula. This was the 16th century version of the CDC. And while we have masks and hand sanitizer, their pandemic response plan was just shove a brick in it. Number 3. Humanity's ghostly third cousin. For ages, we thought the human family reunion was a pretty small affair. You had us, Homo sapiens, and our burly, thick-browed cousins, the Neanderthals. It was a two-party system for human evolution. Plot twist. There was a secret third candidate. In 2010, scientists in a Siberian cave found a single, solitary fragment of a pinky bone. But when they sequenced its DNA, it belonged to a completely unknown human species they named the Denisovans. We have almost no fossils of these people, just their ghost DNA that they left behind in our modern human genome. We literally discovered an entire branch of humanity from genetic breadcrumbs they dropped tens of thousands of years ago. It's like finding out your great-great-great-grandma was a literal elf, and you now carry a small percentage of fantasy race DNA. Number 2. The Black Death gets a return address. The Black Death was the monster under the bed of history. It was this terrifying, faceless villain that just appeared in the 1340s and wiped out half of Europe. For centuries, pinpointing its ground zero was a total guess. It was a 700-year-old cold case. Well, science just found its home address and a birth certificate. By drilling into the teeth of skeletons from 14th century cemeteries in Kyrgyzstan, researchers extracted ancient DNA. And boom, the original gangster strain of Yersinia pestis, the plague bacteria. The DNA showed this local bug was the direct ancestor of all the strains that went globally viral. Even better, tombstones from 1338 in that very area specifically mentioned dying from a pestilence, a full decade before the plague blew up in Europe. This was the beta test that broke the world. Number 1. The first American invasion was a beach party. For decades, the official story of how humans got to America was basically a prehistoric action movie. The Clovis First Theory said grizzled hunters sprinted across the Bering Land Bridge about 13,000 years ago, spears in hand. Wrong. The entire timeline has just been torched by, of all things, a bunch of preserved footprints. In White Sands National Park, New Mexico, scientists dated human footprints to between 21,000 and 23,000 years old, a casual 10,000 years before we thought anyone was here. And the best part? Most of the prints belonged to teenagers and children. This wasn't a special ops hunting party, it was just a family day out. It turns out the first Americans weren't stoic warriors, they were just kids messing around in the mud. That's all for today. Which one of these rewrites to history shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you want your brain scrambled by more historical plot twists, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.